Hello Internet, Lieutenant Ellis here with the 299 Scouts, Dangerous Skills for Dangerous Places. It's day 4 of our lockdown, so I thought it was a good time to change my shirt. New shirt, new topic. We're moving away from all those emergency drills and getting more into the detailed portions of optimizing your pistol. So when I gave you the initial class, I told you, alright, just work on getting that first round hit on target, and I wasn't too concerned about how you optimize your grip and how you maximize contact with the pistol. I just wanted you to get out there practicing. And then going into remedial or immediate action, that's just to keep your gun running. So in case you had to go into combat, I don't know, tomorrow or tonight. Now that we've got ourselves a little bit more breathing room, we're going to go into the details of how we're going to build our grip, what's a proper foundation, and things that are going to pay off and pay dividends as you start running this gun harder and harder live fire. Bottom line up front, the more efficient you can get with your draw and the better initial grip you can get without having to milk your grip or having to shift your hand around on it, the more efficient you're going to get on your strings of fire. So there's a lot that you can fudge, and honestly, it's, like I said, getting into the minutia. I could fire this pistol, leaving this huge gap here. I could fire it with just the tip of my finger, and I could probably get those rounds off just fine. It'll go. But we're here to learn how to make it better. So getting a high grip on that pistol, making sure it's lined up with your wrist, lined up with your elbow. So some people, if they have a grip that's too big for them, they try to shift the gun off to their right. And this will, for two-handed firing on the range, that'll probably get them just fine. But once they start doing instinctive firing and punching out and rapidly engaging, now that pistol's off to the right. So make sure that the back of the pistol is lined up with your wrist, which is lined up with your elbow. And this is going to be your most optimized position for rapid strings of fire, most optimized position for point shooting, and rapid engagement. Alright, first thing I want to cover is obtaining the grip on the pistol. Now this is probably the most critical step, because if you flub this or you screw this up, you're just going to have to milk your grip and make adjustments. And you see this when you go to competitions, or you see this in dash cam footage where a guy has like a bad grip and he's basically having to milk his grip each time the gun recoils because it's shifting around his hand. And what you want to do is mash down your holster so that it closes this gap. If I could hold the gun and fire it like this, I would, because that would be the #1 way to mitigate recoil, so I don't have a fulcrum. If I fired it all the way down here for some reason, I would have all of that leverage to wrench this pistol out of my hand, even though it is only a 9mm. So likewise, I could fire it like this and I'd probably be just fine, other than trying to reach the trigger. But the ideal is to mash down on the grip and get high up on what's called the beaver tail. You just see the skin folding up and over that beaver tail. I've mashed down, so I've got a nice high grip on my sidearm. I've ensured that the muzzle is in line with my wrist, which is lined with my elbow. Now, for the sequence of the draw, this pistol comes straight up into my armpit. What you don't want to do is try to do some sort of wide erp, clear the holster, and then start rotating forward. You don't want to have to do some where you're kind of like doing this long elliptical motion. That's all just going to take time, and it's actually going to limit your options as far as firing from retention. So, the feet straight up into my armpit, locking my wrist, giving me that 45-degree angle. I don't want a downward angle because it weakens my grip. It's easier for it to be disarmed, and also I don't want to drop my shoulder and try to get some sort of hip shot and get a nazone hit. I want my shoulder bunched up, my thumb making contact with my pec, and I want this 45-degree downward angle. As we're firing, this is an emergency procedure once again, where I've obtained my grip, I've come up to my thumb pectoral index. From here I've got options. I can either push out, and I can put that one accurate shot we drilled before. I can maneuver through my house, I can do all kinds of things, or if I've got it bad enough and this guy is right on me, I can fire from this position, from what's called firing from retention. So I'm going to demonstrate with airsoft that thumb pectoral index, keeping your thumb flagged so that it makes contact with your pec, thumb pectoral index, and ensures that you're in the right place, and also your thumb flagged keeps the slide from being interfered with by making contact with your pec or getting caught up in clothing. So, what's the rest of you supposed to be doing? Well, Krav Maga puts it well with protect the computer. So, you do something called shelling, which in old school martial arts, you've got blocks and you've got blocks, and you've got blocks, and hopefully you're fast enough to do some sort of kung fu and block all these hits that are coming at you. Basically, what Travis found out that after doing stress tests where people are beating on you with gloves and just really working through you, and if you watch any kind of street videos, you realize that nobody is fast enough to block all those hits. So the next best thing is just to cover up and to shell. So you grasp the back of your head firmly here, and this covers up half of it. If you're doing just unarmed defense, you would put your other hand up and you would rhino in and you would crash through, or you do some sort of shell where you cover up your head as best as possible until you create your opening through elbows, knees, hammer fist, and you get out of there, you create space, and then you can fight your way out. But so with shell, if I'm going to be trying to go for my pistol, it's not a perfect solution. It's not 100% 360 security around your head. It's just one arm protecting you from blows that are going to coming from this side. That way I can access my firearm and bring it up. Now this isn't a hip rock technique where you might see this on YouTube where somebody tries to draw and they try to lean back so they can get that A-zone hit. With that locked wrist, I can only really angle at 45 degrees. Basically, I'm going to be protecting my head, leaning in, and angling that pistol into the 45-degree angle, hopefully to take shots into what's called his pelvic girdle. Now there's some debate whether or not handgun rounds have the kinetic energy to crack a pelvis. Honestly, I don't care. If I put 5 or 6 9mm hollow points into that guy's pelvis, whatever he was thinking about before, he's not thinking about it now. Whatever he was trying to do before, he's not doing it now. So that's drill number 4 for day number 4. That's just half of the sequence of the draw. That's just getting up to that thumb, pectoral, index. And from here, tomorrow we'll cover our hands meeting up, how we set the pins, how we have tendon lockout, how we drive out, and it's going from point shooting all the way out to front sight focus and getting 1 accurate shot off, 2 accurate shots, 3, 4, or 5. So tune in tomorrow and we'll continue with the second part of the sequence of the draw.